Okay, here we go. Most likely a not as popular stream, but as always, for anybody who is watching the video afterwards, you can probably skip the first few minutes. I might start more quickly on this one than I do normally, so it might only be a 5 minute waiting period because I did promise Josh that I would try to finish this in just over an hour so that if he wants to start streaming, then I won't be getting in his way because Josh is supposedly going to try to get back on his productivity schedule. There we go. Haven't seen you in a while. Dismiss that, yes. Switch to live chat. Okay, successfully switched. Why is, oh, it's just not loading yet. All right, I muted myself. Good. Let's bring this up. I think I put everything in here like it's supposed to be. That would be, yeah, so that should be under next. Was there anything else? No, actually, some of the pictures are missing. Hold on. Let's find those while we let people show up. There they are. Get those, drag them up this way. Streams. And what, why do you jump back down there? Streams, then we go down here. And, why you gotta be up there? You gotta make this difficult, all right. Come on, open the folder, open the folder, open the folder. There we go. And let's get you. You go there as well. All right, so we got that open. And I should only have, okay, I only have my mic up. Good. So when I play the few of those videos, why are you saying my bitrate is 0? My bitrate is not 0. I really don't understand where this is coming from, but okay. Was there anything? Yeah, we're probably gonna need to look at stuff here. And I'm going to zoom in on Alaska anyways, so even on this stream, we're going to have Google Earth. But we're also just going to have Google itself for Google Images. Come on. Ah, yes, Google. That's pretty close. That's pretty close to where I currently am unfortunately stuck. 3 minutes. Okay, so 2 minutes, and then I'll get going like for real, for real. Pardon me. I'm just going to check to see if Josh responded, if he's alive. Apparently not. I think he's dead. Unless he didn't get that message and he started streaming. Hold on. No, he is not. Okay, so he's just dead. Stop giving me that same message. My bit rate isn't 0. I'm assuming you can hear me. You and whoever else is there. Have the note paper here with everything. So that's all good. 45 seconds. All right. I'll use that to chug some water real quick. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Volume is low. Audio, audio. Should I raise that? I think it's in advanced properties. Okay, tell me, tell me if this is better. Is this better? And there's going to be a delay on that. How many times do I have to X this off? Stop telling me the bit connection is low. It should be 15 seconds. 15-second delay. There we go. Uh, better or would you still, does it still need to be louder? For you specifically, are you listening on a phone though? Because Josh confirmed a few streams back that YouTube, for some reason, makes the audio a lot lower on phones when you're listening to a stream on a phone for some reason, versus if you're on a laptop or on a computer. I don't know why it does that. Maybe it's like it's assuming that you're going to be in like a crowded place or something, but it does deliberately make the audio lower on phones. Stop. Where's your AI? I've X'd off the same message like a million times. Your AI should be able to figure out that I'm just going to do the same thing again. Half the volume of the other YT videos. Oh, well, I record those with the studio mic, which is that's kind of ironic because that's the one that's been starting to have like issues, at least on the recording end. Although no one seems to report those like in the comments or anything on the videos. So I'm assuming I only hear those like in the editing software when I'm editing the videos. So I'm not sure what that's about. But if no one's actually hearing like weird audio issues, then I guess it's not actually failing. And maybe it's something with the editing software and they're like not as compatible as they used to be. But oh wait, I think there's another thing I can do, isn't there? Uh, control room. Oh yeah, I just put that in. Control panel. Hold on, I might be able to do this too. Sound, or is that only uh recording? It should be microphone array, properties, levels. It's at 60. Let's turn it up to 70. Because beyond that gets a little too loud, at least for my liking. All right, let's see. And what it registers, oh yeah, it's starting to break into the yellow, which is usually bad. All right, we'll see how that is. But anyways, whether that's good or not, I'm going to go ahead and start now. So, as I would have eventually said, so I, unfortunately, for the last 4 years, since 2020 happened and 2020 to me, I have been having to live down here at my parents' place. Previously, as soon as I was out of high school, I ran away up to Alaska, up here in Fairbanks, Alaska, the best part of Alaska. And I was up there for a while. And predominantly, for the most part, I was running with like less than 10K a year, usually. There was one primary exception, and that was 2018. Uh, and that was like the best year for me because like a whole bunch of my coworkers, that was like the most lined up year where like the most of them at once. Actually went home on every holiday, every like 3 day weekends. Every Some of them were gone for like a whole week on Easter and stuff. So like all around the different holidays and things, there were so many shifts open, and it was considered holiday, so it was like double pay. So I was I unlike in cases of like slave industries like Walmart, which bully and threaten their employees into working far beyond 40-hour weeks, but still only list them as working less than 40 hours a week so they don't have to give them insurance or anything. I was the one doing the bullying that year. Each holiday, I was the one bullying my boss, telling me like telling him like, yeah, no, don't even think about looking about like shopping around to the other clocks. You're gonna give me those shifts. I'm taking all of them. Now, legally, he couldn't do that, and physically, obviously, I couldn't work 24 straight hours one day after another. So it was more of like I would work 8 hours, uh, go home, uh, get like a 6 hour sleep slash kind of nap, immediately jump back out of bed and run back over, get another 8 hours in. And I kept repeating that process like over the course of those holidays. So I was like racking up the double pay. That time I got close to 12K that year. But one probably would imagine, how could you really like go so cheaply? Isn't the average incomes of an American slash, one assumes from that the average cost of living in the US something like 40 grand a year? And the answer is yes, but only because Americans choose to make it that way. So the answers to some of the biggest contributor answers to how to only require like a quarter of that much money a year are probably actually going to disappoint you. I'm not going to, I will reveal like money saving quote unquote tips and secrets, but some of these are not the ones that make the most difference are not like these tips and tricks that a lot of like investor types usually will like try to tell you, or like those scam videos that used to pop up a couple number of years back. They'd be like, just if you just change the type of tires on your car, uh, you'll you'll get like 65 miles a gallon, and the government will be forced to give you $600 a month. So there's no easy secrets like that, unfortunately. Now it's like 65%. Yeah, on phone. Oh wait, what? That is the opposite of how everyone has said it worked. Okay. I don't know what's going on with you then. I forgot what the oh, I forgot where you're from. I was gonna say Oklahoma, buddy, or were you the Ohio one? I think I think you're the Oklahoma one, but I'm not positive. So I probably got it wrong. But uh, we'll start with the biggest secret. Okay, not the biggest, I guess, but a big one. Do I have a picture of Josh's car? I don't think so. Okay. So hold on. I'll just have to Google one. Red Nissan Altima. So this is similar to Josh's car. It's the same model and color, only the fact that it's not a car. So one of the secrets that you guys, if you've been around the channel for a while, in both videos and streams, have probably heard me mention already. One of the easiest secrets is don't own a car. So the numbers are actually higher than this because they've increased over recent years. What I'm using pre 2020 numbers. So for those who think it's not that big of a portion of that average 40K per year living cost, at least pre 2020, what I would usually hear was that people's car payments, because very few people just outright drop 20 to 30 grand on a car, uh, people's car payments were usually something around the area of $300 per month. So if you can't do the math on your own, that's about $3,600 per year. So, that's pretty close to 4K, or about 10% of that average American living cost per year. Now, never having owned slash never will own a car, I also wasn't paying for automobile insurance each month, which apparently, or at least supposedly, currently still averages only about 120 per month. I was aware of that as like a pre 2020 price, so apparently that has not gone up since all the financial instability. But car payments themselves apparently have on average. They're like over 400 per month now, usually. So, but I also obviously was not paying for automobile insurance, which is, about $120 a month, which rounded down is about $1,400 a year. So putting that together with the 3,600 of the car payments themselves, which was, the lower average back then, that's 5 grand a year. That's a lot of average Americans apparently are spending that I was never spending and am never going to. Now, one would ask probably, how was that possible? Isn't America designed for cars? Yes, a lot of it is, but some places aren't. And even in the places that are, you can still actually work without a car. It's not entirely a necessity. You just have to be willing to walk or bike, which I'm willing to do both. And I've done both for shorter distances, though. The true secret for Fairbanks is that we have, in my case, unfortunately had, because I'm not there anymore. I would like to be back there eventually, but we have a public transit system, something that, the US is not really known for being that great at. Where's the folder? Cyber, there it is. So I use this image as like a end screen a lot of times. So we have the Max transit system in Fairbanks, and it is unlike a lot of public transit systems, like a lot of bus services in the US, especially the one in my parents' area where I'm stuck at the moment. The one in their area is really poorly laid out map wise, and it is almost completely useless. The one in Fairbanks is so amazing and it's so well designed, partially also because the city itself is very well designed. So, as you can probably see, this is a good summation of the total general area of town, minus the airport and a few other things on South Van Horn. But the entire town roughly has an awkward. It's a really awkward polygon, but you can still call it a rectangular shape. So we had a few routes that would run in one direction, some that would run in the other, just going circles around this rectangle. Yes, that sounds counterintuitive, but deal with it. And then we had other routes. We had or they still do have. I keep slipping into past tense because I'm unfortunately not there. But the yellow route then goes down here. Then you have the orange route, which goes in between the two main roads that make the rectangle. It like zigzags up and down so that you can get to all these places in between. And the purple route uh, did something similar. It zigzags in there and also zigzags down here a bit. And then there were others like gray, which would go up to some of the more places up in the hills, and the green, which would like go down a ways and go down towards North Pole, which is like a small satellite city of Fairbanks. that's actually south of Fairbanks, despite being called North Pole. So we back up home have a fantastic public transit system that literally could get you anywhere you needed to go. It was well designed, partially because the city was well designed. Uh, Granted, it might not have been originally planned, this way like 100 plus years ago for the imagining of an eventual bus system, but it turned out that way. The blessings of God. So, yes, I did not own a vehicle. I had no need to. My license expired over a decade ago, and no, I'm not ever renewing it. I'd also probably like get a pain even trying to do that right now if I did. So that's 5 grand, roughly on the lower average end for car payments and auto insurance combined over the course of a year that I did not slash don't slash never will spend. So, that removes 5K out of the assumed 40K minimum living cost of the average American. So there are, some, immediate obvious caveats to that, which is that does require uh, being willing to walk or bike distances or having a public transit system of some kind, being or just living in a place that is not so intentionally like screwing you into needing to own a vehicle. Now, America does not have a huge selection of places of that sort, but Alaska is one of them, especially Fairbanks, Alaska. And when I say Alaska, I don't mean life below zero, like TV series, you living out in a cabin in the woods. I mean where we Alaskans actually live in Alaska, which is Fairbanks and Anchorage, and the Valley, which is basically all the suburbs just north of Anchorage. Okay, so all the freaks and the weird ladies on the Light Below Zero TV show out there with hatchets and beaver skins and yellow teeth. That's not Alaska. That's the Alaskan wilderness, and those are some of the scary things. Those people are some of the scary things you will find in the Alaskan wilderness. I assure you, the wildlife is actually not. It's not out to get you. Those people are out to get you, but the wildlife is not like coming after you to try to hunt you down. See if anybody else uh, coming up in chat. Oh, you're swapping back before the two. Oh, split parents. I have to assume. Okay. So, oh, uh, well, since the thumbnail is of my phone, okay, we have to go back to here. Streams next. Since the thumbnail is of my phone, that is another angle. We'll get to the used portion of it in a second. But firstly, phones, you know, you have monthly payments on those, but those are what you make them essentially. So I am aware a lot of people are paying apparently between 70 and $140 a month for phone plans because you want data. Because apparently, despite the fact that I guess I'm old now because I've turned 30, but I am still a millennial. You know, I get it. I'm not a Zoomer, but apparently everyone has this critical need to have like infinite data and to have the internet anywhere, anytime on their phone, like any location ever. I have never felt the need or desire for that, Like the only thing I've ever used a phone for is a phone. And primarily the only thing I'm really using it for nowadays is messaging Josh, telling him either to get on my stream or to start his stream like he said he was going to, or for listening to music when I'm out walking, picking up everybody else's trash. So I only have a basic like phone plan, and those are, you know, not as cheap as they used to be. It's still like $25, but it's not the 70 to $140 to, have the all internet everywhere, infinite download 500,000 terabytes per second crap that is apparently like necessary lifeblood to most people now. If I do when I am like in access to the internet, which is a large portion of the day, obviously, but I do everything on my regular laptop. I'm not I'm not out walking next to cliffs playing Pokemon Go and taking selfies to upload to Instagram while leaning over a cliff to then proceed to fall off of and die. So that 70 to $140 like infinite data, all internet everywhere phone plan thing would, rounded at least, be anywhere from $800 to $1,600 per year. Whereas I'm only losing about $300 per year just to maintain generic phone coverage. And obviously the ability to store music on the phone doesn't cost anything. That comes with the phone. And this is where we get into some other stuff, some non like constant monthly fee saving stuff, but stuff that will save you money in the long run. I hope you can tell from the sheer degree of this shattered glass. I've been using this phone for a while. I used the phone before that for a while. And the phone before that one, the first phone I got, I used for a very long while. My average is about 5 years per phone. And these phones that I get, at least when I got them, they are now unfortunately up to between 50 and $60. But when I got them, the first phone I ever got was $30, way, way back. The the second phone and third phone, the one I'm on now, were $40. Versus, the iPhone 15s 400 Series X 5000 gigachad, which is I think like $1,300 brand new. And uh, Josh doesn't get the brand new ones, but Josh still does get, not like picking on him, but he still does get like actual brand name smartphones. He does get them, the older models though. So he only pays a few $100s for them. But I don't need that. So I literally just get the most basic phone that is that still has a touchscreen, but it is ultimately just a phone. Like it's not able to do all of the stuff that like real smartphones are able to do. It does have a headphone jack, so it does play music obviously because I do need that. But it's was only $40, and this one in particular, yes, I am about to have to switch this over. However, I did already get its replacement a while ago. So I have had that like in storage waiting, and I got that back before the price markup. So that is another secret is, for one, don't get an iPhone. For two, don't get a brand name phone at all. So don't get an iPhone doesn't mean get a Galaxy 5SX instead. It means don't get a brand name phone. Uh, Learn how to exist without like physically being attached, plugged in to the internet, like you're like some kind of actual droid. because you're not. Learn how to actually be a physical, like physiological human being. You will survive without a internet connection constantly. You don't need to be watching Max O'Dear's YouTube videos on, when you're literally like walking down a sidewalk in the middle of nowhere. I promise I will live without that one extra view. So, for one, so that's, only buying a new phone every like 5 years. If you want, you can add that $40. That will now be $60, unfortunately, the next time, but the next time won't be for several more years. You can add that as an expense on one single year of mine if you want, or you can keep this as an average and divvy that up across the 4 or 5 years. Versus paying $1,200 or whatever for a brand new like Samsung Galaxy or an iPhone, and so only paying the 40 or $60 for this versus the 1,200, plus also only getting a new one every like 5 years once the one you currently have physically can no longer function. And this is not the only thing that I do this with. And yes, part of that life expense thing for the average American apparently now does actually include the assumption that the average American gets like the next newest model of phone every year. So you can go ahead and X off like 1,000 to 1,500 bucks off of my comparative yearly expenses by cut the actual cost of the phone in half to make it fair, and then add the yearly cost of the data package, all internet everywhere monthly bill. So that's like a total of 6,500 off of the supposedly average 40,000. And then uh, on top of that, and I don't have desktop audio playing, so there's more examples. These are my headphones. So yeah, those are my headphones. You will see they are Sony, and you will see they are, uh, you know, they're at the point where people would probably have thrown them away a long time ago. I don't, because they still function. And if that padding there actually comes off completely, I do have a small thing of GigaChad glue, because I don't call it Gorilla Glue, because Gorilla is uh, early 2010s meme, Rip Harambe and everything, but it's GigaChad glue now. I can just glue it back on. When headphones stop actually functioning, then I change them. But these were 20 bucks, and my headphone average lifespan is a bit shorter than the phone's lifespan. It's usually about 4 years for a pair of headphones. But so that's once every 4 years I pay about 20 bucks. And no, obviously, as you can probably tell from that, I am not buying or wearing uh, Beats by Dre, which are, all of these different prices depending on the model or whatever else you intend to get. So I'm not dropping, 150 to $300 on a pair of headphones, despite the fact that there are people who will tell me that that's actually necessary. The same with the whole getting the latest iPhone thing. There were actually people when I had a discussion like this on a stream before, or in a video, I think it might have been. There were actually people in the comments who straight up were like trying to make a rationalizing argument to me about like why it actually was vitally necessary to get the like literal new iPhone model each time like the new model releases. Like they were actually like trying to compose something that they thought was like a legitimate argument. It's not. There is none. Uh, cons- Consumer idolatry, or effectively corporate worship of Apple or of Samsung, is the only actual reason you would be doing that. And if you're going to say that your company or whoever you work for forces you like to buy the newest like iPhone or whatever every year, it's time to job migrate. And if you're going to say that it's a company that's paying you like I don't know 100K a year, so you don't want to job migrate, you should still job migrate because if the company is willing to pay you that, then they should be willing to just buy the phone for you. That doesn't make any sense. All right. Where else do we want to go with this? Well, I should probably check chat. Oh, oh, okay. All right. Glad to hear that you do not have separated parents. I'm one of the few people I know that actually also doesn't, that has like normal parents. Like every that's part of also my whole thing where I've told you guys about how like I seriously doubt that there are any like actual functional humans left on Earth. Is That's another like angle of it, is like I have met very few other people who have like both parents, one like still alive and they know their location, and who are not either not like split up or divorced and or not abusive. Like I uh uh ooh, hold on, I'm trying to think. Uh uh Nick and Kayla, my friends, my closest friends back up home, actually. They live up here in the hills, uh, in a place called Yak that's around this area, which is outside of like the boundary zone. Basically, you can consider this rectangle thing the boundary zone of the free heating and water, essentially, because the power plants in town they well, okay, that's another angle actually of why it's so much cheaper up home to live is heating and water. Those two basically everywhere in the zone of provision is what we're going to call it. Those are free. The heating is because of combined heating and power, as we have several power plants. We have one at the university, we have one here, and we have one down here, or it might be here. So they they to the ire of uh, green politicians, they're coal burning power plants because that's kind of like what we have to have because it's the Arctic. So they have tunnels going out from them, like across the town, that they, pump the waste steam into instead of, otherwise just having to vent it or vent a large portion of it because cycling it through, it would not cool and condense back down fast enough, not all of it at least. However, cycling it around, is beneficial to power plants and to the people of a city because that helps, cool the steam down faster and helps them like keep more of it and thus use less water and also, heats us for free. They don't, charge for it because it's literally waste that they're getting to recycle because they heat us with it. So, for the most part, it's within this general area. If you start living outside of that, like you live out on Farmers Loop, or you live up in Badger, or you live in South Van Horn, in some places at least, or you live out or up in Yak, or in Esther, or down in Sheena, down the river. Out there, yes, you are not connected to that system because there's only so much it can reach. And so, like for example, my friends Nick and Kayla, who live up in Yak, their apartment place is heated communally by one single fuel oil furnace, and that charge is they don't get charged separately for that. That charge is included in their rent, but that's why their rent is higher than most of the places like actually in town. Whereas, like I said, most of the places in town are pretty cheap. Like several of the like cheaper places that hit like my limit of what I'm willing to like tolerate living in. Not like close to it, not like I'm on the threshold of what I'm willing to put up with, but that like are at the the threshold of like where I'm getting close enough to the threshold to where I'm not going to get any closer to the threshold. Those, and one of them was actually really nice, actually. Those are around like 650 to 700 a month. And then there are like actually really nice places like this place down here, Sophie Plaza, behind the Fred Meyer and the Safeway. Those places I could not afford. Uh, if I had enough, I would probably live in those places. But those are like the nice places, and those are only about $1,200 a month, with no additional charges. The heating is free, the water is free, the sewer is free, the trash collection is free. And yes, it was a joy living in a state that actually had money. So, and it's not all entirely the state governments. The city of Fairbanks slash the borough of North Star that we reside in does also get its own money by, there it is, did also or does also get its own money by taxing Kinross, the massive Canadian mega global mining company that operates the Fort Knox mine. And despite what you might be told if you're by politicians, if you're more conservative leaning, that taxes immediately make companies leave. That's not even remotely true. They don't actually care. They pretend to care to see if it'll make you flex, but if you don't blink, like Alaska, the state as a whole didn't when the oil companies tried to get out of having to pay 35% oil revenue when we first set the system up back in the 70s. If you don't blink, then they'll back down and they'll just pay it because they're making like hundreds of billions of dollars a year. They don't actually care. They want to skim as much as possible, but in the end they won't care because they're still making way more than they're losing. So we Fairbanks also get our own additional revenue stream by taxing Kinross's mine, which is now expanding. They're working on the expansion. The satellite image is a few years old, but you can see where they were starting up there to start the secondary portion of it. So part of that was also Fairbanks' own money going towards everything. But to uh, factor in like to factor in like the actual numbers for you, so you can get an idea. Where did I put those? I'm going to use my parents' water bill and sewer bill as an example. I don't know if I don't know how the different rates fluctuate across the country, but in places like my parents' place in South Carolina, where you actually have to pay for water and sewage, uh, the combination of the two is about $90 a month, which obviously rounded down is about $1,000 a year. So that's $1,000 a year. Uh, I don't or slash won't, if I eventually can get back up there, have to pay in Fairbanks because that's provided. So that then is a total of 7,500 to 8,000 off the total average American life expense per year, and this will fluctuate with the actual national gas demand levels because of spot pricing. But supposedly during the 5 or 6 colder months of the year, On average, across the U.S., since most homes use gas furnaces for heating in areas that actually experience winter, apparently the rough average is about a little over $100 per month during the 5 or 6 colder months of the year. So, in these general areas, versus back up home, heating is via combined heat and power and is free. If you live in a place, again, that's within the primary zone of provision. So 5 to 6 months of about $100 a year, plus then assuming your home is also using gas for like other stuff, probably. I don't know. I'll cut it down to maybe like the 6 warm months of the year are probably only, we'll say $30 a month. That's probably overtly generous, but so that's 600 plus 200, so that's 800 additional dollars that you aren't having to pay in that case. So you're now getting close. You're now getting down close to only $31,000 a year, and it would vary based on what you spend. But we also don't have sales taxes back up home. We also don't have state income taxes back up home either, because we get our money by taxing the oil and mining industry, and taxing tourism a little bit. There is a visitor's tax on Alaska. If you actually look, it's factored into your ticket. But if you actually look at your either your airline ticket or your cruise booking package, you will actually see a $26 fee on there listed as state of Alaska visitors tax. So we do directly grab your money if you visit us. We do have a actual visitors fee for making us have to uh have to put up with you. Okay, then we go into some more stuff that's specific to me. Uh, who do I want to bring up? I don't know. Norton's probably the most like well known or common one. So you got Norton and you got others, antivirus softwares. I'm going to let you in on a secret that if you are a common layperson, you probably think is very dangerous. I don't have antivirus. I don't have an antivirus subscription. So I am saving now. Actually, well, let's check. What are their prices? It's usually like, oh, they're offering discounts, so only 30 for the first year. But it is the regular price is still $60 a year. Okay. So they haven't actually increased. Excuse me. I said go back. Thank you. So I don't have an antivirus software. So I've been saving $60 a year on that for a while. Uh, in reality, I'm sure someone will disagree, but in reality, you don't need it. Uh, Microsoft anti-malware executable does enough. Uh, if if you're like really concerned, you already can via the stuff that's on your computer itself. You can already scan your computer for things. Uh, the the things that are like actually going to endanger you are things that you have to actually like go out of your way to do. Now, uh, it is good for like especially more elderly people to have something that automatically warns and protects them because no offense to the elderly, but they tend to be less knowledgeable, and so they're about computers. I mean, and so they tend to be more gullible. That's why the people who fall for like all the like scams and email clickbait stuff tend to be like grandmas and grandpas. But most of the things that are actually a danger to you are things that you kind of have to like deliberately allow to endanger you. And I have not encountered any like real problems ever since I stopped having antivirus, which was I think 2014 was the last year I legit had one. And what was the one other time? Oh yeah, when uh when I got one of my one of the times I got a new laptop. One of the times I got a new laptop, it came with I think McAfee like forcibly installed onto it. So I had antivirus for 1 year after that by force, by like no choice of my own, because HP said, no, you're going to have this antivirus. And so, I was just like, okay. When McAfee came begging me for money to sign up, a year later, I rejected it and deleted it. But so that is another thing. And okay, hold on. I'm trying to find where I was on here. Oh, actually, speaking of subscriptions, then, uh, I guess Netflix is the most common one, so might as well. So I know it is pretty cheap, but I don't have any subscriptions to like Netflix or Hulu or Disney Plus or whatever. And yes, I do actually know people that I speak to frequently who have like subscriptions to all three and a few other things. So it is actually kind of common. I don't because YouTube is free, Twitch is free, Daily Motion is free, and not even, I'm not even talking about like technically illegally watching stuff. Like shows, there are very few that I want to watch, and they're not really popular things, and most of them actually fall into like kids' cartoon stuff because the, nothing that's actually supposedly made for adults is good anymore. So the thing is, uh, if you actually look, most of the channels for things on like YouTube, they will actually just put it up themselves, like completely free for you to watch. Like for example, uh, here is one of the channels that has like some of the Russian cartoons that I like watching, and they're all here. They're like okay, this only has two of them. The renewed new Pagadi show sometimes, but primarily the Prostokvashino show on this one at least. Those like this and other channels that like have the same. I probably have to scroll down a long ways, but they all like they put their oh yeah, Great Wolf Pack. I forgot, but like they all like they put the stuff up there themselves for free, so that there's like nothing actually barring you, even legally, like or on I guess uh, a morally legally basis. There's nothing barring you. There's nothing like actually gun to your head making you subscribe to Netflix or Disney Plus. So I do not have to deal with any of that. And for internet itself, for being online, uh, back up home, this one is less common. Okay, it's only about half or less than half, but enough of the places that you could stay straight up. I'm not kidding. Actually, just give you internet for free. Now, the places that give you it for free, they're not giving you really slow 90s internet. However, they are also not giving you like, giga gamer Twitch streamer 500,000 billion terabytes per second internet. It is uh it is perfectly fine for watching YouTube and watching Twitch streams, and I only ever had done it twice. Back up home, I did two live streams before 2020 happened, and I had to go into exile as I've been now. And for YouTube streams, at least when I did them, it was perfectly fine actually. Now, granted, of course, I'm not like eating up that much bit rate doing this. Uh, if you are like a mega gamer and you want to like stream on Twitch and, are like my first year college roommate back in 2012 who, had like the 50, different computer monitors on his desk and was playing League of Legends on one screen while he had his like video chat call with his gaming buddies up on another screen, and then he was watching someone streaming another game on a third screen. In that case, yeah, you're going to be screwed, and the property manager is going to tell you you're going to have to actually like pay for your own like higher bit rate subscription or whatever. But close to half the places did slash do just straight up give you internet for free. And the places that don't will, in many cases, give it to you for like a once per year payment of like $150. And aside from that, other places, uh, a lot of times the places that have the lower rent where they do cut the internet out and you have to pay for that separately. Internet backup home was actually pretty cheap, like decent enough speed for my more loose like associate friends. Like they were friends of Nick and Kayla, but Garth, one of my like more loose associate guys who was a gamer, he wanted an upgrade from what the basic provision was, and it was only like $60 a month to get his ultra Twitch streamer GigaChat internet. Whereas down here in or not here, but not here in Fairbanks, Alaska, but down here where I'm stuck now in South Carolina, a lot of like the high quality internet, like I think my parents' one for their house is like $120 a month or something more than that. So the a lot of if you're catching a idea here that part of the angle of how to like run cheap, if you're catching the vibe that part of this is just live in Alaska, you are absolutely correct. Actually, that is one of the easiest means. People have an automatic assumption that Alaska is like more expensive, but that is not the case. Some store items are more expensive, like uh, milk. Milk was like the one big one for me that was kind of an issue because I drink a lot of milk, and yes, milk back up home is more expensive. But people have this weird idea that it's like $10 a gallon or something. But no, it's let's see. When milk at around my parents' place was 250, milk back up home was about $4. So milk around my parents' area at the moment is I think like 350. So milk back up home is probably like five or something like that. So it's not actually like as insane as people think it is. And milk is I'm not actually even kidding when I say milk is like one of the only actual things that really had a price effect, or at least from my angle, because I'm not buying a lot of other stuff that other people might be buying. But like home appliances and stuff are still kind of the same price as they are back down south because the transport of them is not anywhere near like a large part of the end price of like a refrigerator or a laundry machine or something. That's a really really marginal portion of their end cost. But for like milk, because it has a short refrigerator shelf life, it yes, that becomes a larger part of its cost because it has to be moved that long distance up to Fairbanks as quickly as possible. But for a lot of other things, no, not really. And also, since I just noticed this bullet point on the notepad, I another angle from which I don't dump out cash wherever I'm located at a rate that other people do is I am not a smoker. I don't do cigarettes. I don't do cigars. Never have, never will. I don't do like actual drugs. Never have, never will. And yes, I did know a guy. I did know a guy in when I was back, like actually attending UAF University, who was spending like a few $100 a month on weed. And also something people might consider a bigger deal or less believable for some reason, since so many Americans, especially the ones down in the South where I am now, chug so much of it. I don't consume alcohol. I don't drink booze. I'm not pounding down six packs. Never have, never will. So, those kind of common slash not as often thought of uh, expenses are not something I have ever had nor ever will have. I should check chat like a responsible streamer. Family premium YouTube subscription? What? But, wait, what? Are you is that like some special service YouTube offers? Because I mean, you like regular YouTube is just free. I'm assuming that's some kind of like special streaming service or something. But oh yeah, also since this bullet point is right above that one, you guys saw the thing with my headphones already. This applies to everything else as well. I got a $40 backpack years ago in 2016, and that's still the backpack that I roll with. I use the same everything for like literal years. So same is true with like the phone, the headphones, backpack, uh, shoes. Usually last me a decent 4 years. Although that depends. Uh, in that particular case, you do have to actually get into uh, who you're getting it from. Now, for shoes, the best case for you to do if you want long-lasting sneakers is make sure that they were made in Vietnam. Vietnam is the shoemaker. If you get like whatever like actual type or brand of sneaker they are, look at the source country. If they're made in Vietnam, they will last you 4 years or more. Uh, Second best, if there's nothing Vietnamese made, second best is made in Indonesia. Those have not typically lasted me as long as Vietnamese made ones, but they have usually lasted 2 to 3 years. But it's the made in Vietnam shoes that have tended to last me like 4 to 5 years. And for clothes and or towels and things of the like, if you can, find them, uh, buy items that were made in either Pakistan or Cambodia. The clothing from those two countries has lasted me an eternity. And like the primary example, one of my long sleeve shirts that my parents got me in back when I was in high school. So back even before I left for Alaska, and back before I knew any of the stuff like this, so they just like grabbed me what they saw one day. Uh, one of my long sleeve shirts, the one that has been around the longest now, was made in Pakistan, and like I said, they bought that towards the end of when I was in high school, which was over 12 years ago, and that shirt is still perfectly fine. There was one other of it. This isn't a tag from the shirt. This is a tag on one of my towels. But the this is just basically to emphasize a point. But the one other copy of that shirt that actually got torn up only did so because I accidentally was dumb and I caught it on something sharp and like pulled away real fast because I didn't realize it was caught on something and that like ripped it. However, the normal one, the one that I never caught on anything, has like no loose threads. It has no tears. Like nothing is happening to it, and it's been 12 years. So, and the same is the case for clothing from Cambodia. Cambodia more frequently, instead of like upper body clothing, you will find lower body clothing. They tend to be more in the shorts and pajamas category, whereas Pakistan does shirts a lot, particularly long sleeve shirts and towels as well. So you want to go for Pakistan and Cambodia. If not, then there is a descending order after that, uh, but it descends very rapidly. Like it is a downwards logarithmic slope in quality, and especially because there was also there my mom also bought me a blue towel like a year after I first got stuck down here, and that one was made in the U.S. and that one is starting to fray and like shred around every corner and every edge. So don't buy U.S. made clothing, or at the very least, don't buy U.S. made towels. And it should go without speaking that the other thing applies here as well. Do not, buy brand name clothing either. Don't buy Air Jordans for your shoes. Don't, buy tuxedos for your like your your regular clothing. I don't know what the I don't know what the regular name brands for like clothing are. But like for example, this is down here in the South where it's unfortunately hot all the time. This is like one of my normal things. Most of my clothing consists of t-shirts, obviously down here as opposed to back up home, and they are mostly just like this one. They're just like generic gray t-shirts that were like 6 or 8 stuffed in a pack and were like $10 for all of them. And also, in terms of shaving, since I'm a male and I unfortunately have a beard and mustache, or would if I didn't shave, that constantly try to come into existence. I don't, do the whole shaving cream and razor thing. I use an electric shaver. This, hold on, let me get to where you can see it. There you go. This basic Philips electric shaver, it was, I think, $14 when I got it, and I got it back in 2019. So we're in year 5 now, and it doesn't have any problems. The last one I had, the same. I got like a $14, $15 shaver, and I had it for 5 years. The only reason, actually, no, I'm sorry, I had it for 6 years. The only reason I ended up having to get this new one was because I accidentally dropped the old one from a decent height onto a hard surface, and it actually like broke apart. So, unless I do that again, I'm gonna just keep using this. That was one payment of $14 5 years ago. I'm not constantly buying shaving cream. I'm not constantly buying razors. I'm not spending $120 on the I don't know, whatever that like newest advertisement is for like the newest, closest shave. It has 17 blades, and they're all bionic, and they have nanobot biosensors that sense the proximity to your skin. Since we're in the videos here, might as well also this, uh, you know, just refill your water. In this is the case down here in my parents' house because they have a fridge filter dispenser thing. Uh, Back up home, where it was, me on my own, I did not have, I didn't even have a giant regular sized fridge because that would be multiple hundreds of dollars. What I did have was a used fridge from a college student who needed to get rid of stuff as they were done with college. And they sold me their small half size fridge for $40. And I had that on me for 6 years. No problems with it. Don't have it with me anymore, obviously, because I'm not up there anymore. But for my water up there, I just used a pure filter. Brita is cheaper and more commonly seen. Do not get Brita. It is not a real filter. It's just it's a sheet of paper jammed into something that looks like water filter. Get Pure for a water filter if you have to have a tank or a pitcher. If you don't have a fridge with like the actual dispenser thing, get Pure. That's what I had. So just refill like your same water thing over and over again. Obviously, not indefinitely like the same bottle. Eventually, you'll start to taste it when portions of the plastic start to dissolve in it, which usually is after like a couple weeks. But don't if you are constantly just actually like buying additional water, you're kind of stupid. Also, some stuff that is correlated to just me trying to make sure I cost my parents as little money as possible because their heating is not free because it's not Fairbanks, Alaska, and thus their water heating is also not free. I forgot that part also. The free heating back up home, if you live within the zone of provision and don't live in a neighborhood where a bunch of like I hate the government type people built their houses intentionally not being connected to the system for some reason. Although they still built their houses by paying with transactions through a financial system that it was built and maintained by the government, but whatever. Uh, so hot water is part of the free heating thing. Uh, Down here in the area where my parents live, that's obviously not the case. Hot water is an extended part of the electric bill. So if you, this is more advice for me trying to save my parents money, and for you if you don't live in Fairbanks, Alaska, uh, use cold water for everything. because your hot water heater is one of the largest portions of your electric bill. The largest portion is obviously your climate control system, which is a thing, which is another aspect of backup home that, I didn't slash we didn't have to worry about. Climate control systems, primarily just means heating in the winter because it doesn't really get hot in the summer. Very rare instances where it will spike up like into the 80s. But like the hot summer days in July typically consist of like 70 to 75 Fahrenheit. And I usually would keep the inside of my room or my unit from getting hot by opening a window. Because you see, back up home, that was a thing that you could actually do. That would actually cool you off or cool your place off in the summer. Whereas, like, if you live down in the southern US, the whole open a window thing doesn't actually work because, the idea is your place, like back up home, if it was 75 degrees outside, your place is building up too much heat inside and it's getting into like the upper 70s or even close to 80 degrees. You open up a window and then the cooler air from inside cools the place down. That doesn't work down in like the southern US because during the summer in the southern US, it's like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So, if the inside of your house is getting up into the upper 70s and you don't want to turn the AC on because you like want to save money, you can't avoid that by opening the window because you're not going to make the inside of your home that is, almost 80 degrees somehow go lower by opening a window to the outside where it is 20 degrees hotter on the outside than it is on the inside. So the whole open a window thing only works for more northern-ish places in general. But so we don't really need AC backup home, and the heating is free. So climate control systems and hot water heating are not part of electric bills backup home. So despite the fact that the electricity charge rate backup home is significantly higher, because it is Arctic coal, and mining that has, more challenges and maintenance stuff with it. So backup home, yes, it is about 24 or 25 cents per kilowatt. So that is, that's a bit more pricey than the average. However, for apartments, at least, again, for apartments and units or room units, because a lot of the places back up home are in Fairbanks. A lot of, especially the ones that are cheaper, are not like entirely what you would initially imagine as an apartment. Like one of the places around here, down at the end of one of these two roads, uh, is like it's an apartment sort of. Uh, it's basically it's a very big room, but it's not like it's not a studio apartment, uh, at least in the manner in which a studio apartment is typically imagined, because that's usually, I think, like just one open room, and like there's like this one little weird wall that like makes sure that you can't look at someone while they're using the toilet or something. But it's not that it's like set up in a different way. It's hard to describe, and like the kitchen is the kitchen portion is like separate from the large living slash bedroom portion, and then the bathroom is like its own actual enclosed room and everything. It's not just like this weird little wall thing that exists there so that no one can watch you take a dump. But for like units and for also regular apartments, the electricity bill, despite the higher cost, still is usually lower back up home than it is down here for similar places because climate control systems and hot water heating is not a factor. Something that is a factor, no matter where you are, is the expense of the clothes dryer, putting your clothes through the clothes dryer unit. which is why uh, I did something that I obviously still do down here because I don't want to cost my parents extra money either. Is I wash everything together as one single load. I don't do like a separate load of socks and white stuff, a separate load of towels, a separate load of dark clothes, then a separate load of light colored clothes. You know, I was brought up on the assumption that that was like it was bad to throw everything together and like all the colors would mix. However, I've been washing everything together as a single load for 12 plus years now. That has never happened. I don't know. I mean, it is something that used to happen like back when my parents were young. So I don't know if it's like we changed the type of dye we make clothes with, if it's something we changed in like the laundry detergents we use. But the color mixing thing just apparently doesn't happen anymore. Or I might be a weirdo, I might be a fluke, and I'm like the only person in the world that doesn't happen to for some reason. But I have done all of my stuff at once so that they then obviously can all go through one dryer load at once. And, because the amount of clothes in the dryer doesn't affect how much electricity the clothes dryer is using. Just the clothes dryer just running, it's going to use 10 kilowatts an hour. That's what it's going to use. It doesn't matter how much you put in there. If you put, your 10 socks in there, it's going to use 10 kilowatts. If you do what I do and you put the everything you have in there uh, in one go, it's going to use 10 kilowatts per hour. So I don't, separate stuff into four separate loads of laundry. I do everything at once. It is also helpful that back up home, most of the places uh, have they have the laundry room for the apartments or for the unit set, like in places like over there. Uh, a lot of our stuff is like industrial scale. Uh, like the not always the washers, but often the washers and especially almost always the dryers will be like the huge, big feeder drum things that you typically see in the laundry rooms of like hotel rooms that hotels have to because they have to try to pound so much laundry through on every single day. So it is also like physically easier to like fit a bunch of stuff because a lot of the places back up home have like industrial scale laundry machines. Okay. All right. Then we're gonna have to come back down to another basic, but somewhat more boring thing. I would imagine. Uh, oh, it's just really $23. Get $23 just to get no ads. Just have the ads. Like literally, you can skip most of them, and most of them are only 15 seconds now. Uh, the ultimate key, like the truly ultimate key, is to live in an apartment. Is to just not is to not buy a house. Uh, I know that sounds like a boring anticlimax, but I know it's probably higher than this. But I'm going to use free 2020 numbers. In the U.S., the average like monthly mortgage payment for a house is, I think, something like $1,200 per month. So, rounding up, that's about 15 grand per year, which is, 30% of that, $40,000 per year average American living cost. So, take that big 15K chunk out of there. Instead, most of my cost would still be like living place expense, would still be rent. but it would not be that much. Now that's the like pre 2020 low end average. Apparently, around here, around this area, not Fairbanks, I mean the area where my parents are, the average is actually apparently more like 16 or 1700 per month for a home monthly payment. And if you live in like a larger house, like for example, my parents' house down in South Carolina, where I've been since 2020, their place is one floor. It's just one floor minus a single second floor room over the garage, which is the room where I live because it's the most isolated and it's like, it's the closest thing I can get to like pretending I'm still like by myself, trying to regain the isolation that I had back up there. Come on, let's get down here. So apparently around my parents' area, the average is actually more like 1600 or 1700 per month, unless you have like a two-floor house, a house that has two stories, in which case it's probably something like two to $2,500 per month. So, there's that. Plus, if you are dealing with a house as opposed to an apartment, you also have to pay for the homeowner's insurance thing. That, unlike car insurance, that's not legally mandated. However, most banks, which are who you're going to, be paying for your house through, uh, they themselves, as a financial policy, mandate you to get it anyways. It's not mandated by the government, but it is mandated by the bank. And those apparently are not as expensive as I thought they were. Supposedly, the average for those is only about $2,000 per year. But, that's still another 2 grand a year that I was not paying and, would not. Ugh, okay. What else do we have here? Oh, yeah. Okay. Okay. Whoa. All right. I've way overran the time limit. Is Josh there? No. Did he ever respond to my text? I told him that I would be done in only about an hour. Well, it seems like he's dead anyways, so I might be escaping culpability. He is not on. Okay. All right. So I can escape culpability for the moment. All right. I'll try to blaze through the rest of this. One of the things that is like the most frequent expense you'll have is food. So, for one, I eat, both back up home and down here because I don't want my parents to have to, spend that much cash. I eat, cheap stuff. Not, I'm not like forcing myself to eat stuff that I don't like. I do love Cookie Crisp, which is why I was, getting worried during the hyper drought in New Mexico because Albuquerque is where the General Mills cereal factory is that makes several of their brands, including Cookie Crisp. And if I get cut off from my Cookie Crisp, then all of you are going to have some serious problems. But food is, one of the major expenses. So for one, I don't even back up home. I don't didn't eat out like at all. And I didn't like constantly. I wasn't like ordering Uber or anything. I ate cheap things and still do. Like I eat Cookie Crisp. I eat generic Kraft macaroni. I eat Kansas SpaghettiOs and meatballs, and occasionally also I eat these. These are mozzarella sticks. So there are two aspects of saving money here. One is you'll see I didn't cover this entire tray with the foil because you don't need to. I covered the portion of the tray that I was going to use for these. And actually, even this was a bit too much. So you can really cut back on the foil usage. And also here, you can see I put six. I would end up putting a seventh on here because seven or eight is the amount I usually end up eating. But I put, the amounts on there that I'm going to eat. Whereas, and yes, this is a common thing, people, people I know included, literally just like will take a box of stuff and will just like make the whole box. Like they'll just like these came from a box of either 25 or 40 or 45, sorry. Uh people will just pour the whole box on there and they'll just like pig out up to a limit, probably eat like 10, maybe 12, and then they'll just toss the rest, which is like dumb. So for one, uh, cook what you're going to eat. Like I said, I usually end up eating about seven or eight. I know that's how many, regarding these things specifically, that's how many I'm going to eat. I know that because I'm familiar with myself. Obviously, I'm myself, so I know what I'm going to do. So out of those 45, usually the 45 pack is like $6 or $7. I'll eat like seven, usually sometimes eight. So that is, about six meals out of that. So, that's like a little over $1 per meal if we're looking, specifically at the mozzarella sticks thing. And then factoring in the fact that I do, heat up some marinara sauce with them. Uh, one can of marinara sauce, I, heat that up, and then what doesn't get consumed with that particular meal, I then put in a Tupperware container and put it in the fridge, and I will pour out about half of that into the next round on like the next day and reheat that particular portion. So with each meal, I'll usually use like a third of the sauce from the can. So and the can is like between $1.20 and $1.50. So factoring that in, these come out to average around the same cost as the SpaghettiOs and meatballs and macaroni usually would, which is about $1.50 per meal. And also, let's get the phone off the screen. Let's get my boy Chip the Wolf back up here. And also, a big cookie crisp thing is usually back up home it would be like $5. So that's even less than like $1.50 a meal, but it would also depend on how much you eat. But that's you can figure like $1.50 per meal or so. And the true trick is uh people will call this starvation, but it's not. I assure you I'm alive. Uh the trick is also I only really eat one meal a day. And no, I'm not kidding about that part. I eat one like meal in quotation marks per day. And the other things are supplemental stuff, some snacks, and also like a banana and preferably a pear. But down here, unfortunately, the nearest place that has good pears near where my parents live is a ways away, so I can't get those as often. So I have to settle for Red Delicious apples instead. Back up home, Fred West. Fred West is the store I would usually, hop the bus down to. Had great pears all the time. And also occasionally snack on blueberries because blueberries are awesome. Make sure you get them from Peru, though. No other country, just Peru. But yeah, I don't actually eat three like meals per day, so that's another whole thing. But yeah, like the with stuff that's like in the freezer or the fridge, don't empty the box and like make the whole thing because you're not going to eat like the whole like pack of stuff. Take out and cook what you're going to eat. And, if you're worried about it being exposed, you just buy a package of like Ziploc bags, like gallon-sized Ziploc bags, and seal the stuff back in a Ziploc bag before you put it back in the freezer. Uh, a lot of the other stuff would be kind of su superfluous, I think. All right. What? All right. What else here? That is like really definitive. Oh, yeah. So this counts both down here and back up home because there is a Kroger owned store down here that I can get to that I've been getting my prescription medications from. Uh, I joined the once I no longer could ride on my dad's health insurance, I signed up for Kroger's medication coverage provision plan, which is $36 per year. And my prescriptions are now $6. So it's they it sounds like something you would never expect them to do, but for one, it does actually generate customer store loyalty. And for two, it is actually keeping money in their hands because most people, not Max Ogier, but most people would go seeking an actual like new insurance like coverage plan, in which case the insurance company would then be getting all that money and whatever Kroger store the person is going to would have to, hand out the medications for whatever discount the insurance gets. However, in this case, they do it themselves and still at least get to keep an extra additional $36 a year instead of otherwise hundreds or thousands of dollars going to an insurance company instead. Uh, oh yeah, also, the trinkets thing. So a lot of people's rooms, homes, you're gonna find posters, you're gonna find collectibles. Like one person I was watching a video of on YouTube, like in the background of in his room, he has this the one that you can like mount and plug into like on your wall. He or no, he has the mounting version, not the standing version. But he has like these, and those are like $100 each. So you know, that's just one example of one thing. But I don't have stuff like that. I know there's like other people who have will have like since we're on Star Wars, we'll have like a bunch of Star Wars like vehicle models in their room. I don't have anything of the sort. Uh, Josh, my mod, who is not here, his brother has like shelves and shelves full of Dragon Ball Z figurines and merch. But just the general, so you get the general idea. I don't have anything of the sort in regards to anything for like any fandom. I don't have like walls mounted with posters. I down here or back up home. I don't have I don't have uh I don't have hold on, my brain is breaking. I don't have like shelves stocked full of like I don't know Marvel action figures or something. And then jumping off from that from the Marvel stuff, I don't I don't go to the movies. The one time in like the last 5 years, I think 4 years, that I went to the movies like deliberately of my own choosing was to see Gojira minus one, the Godzilla movie from Japan, the Japanese one, not the American franchise milking CGI trash. And that was actually a very good film. and I was supporting the Japanese film industry as opposed to Hollywood, which is you know ever more confirmed. Modern Hollywood, probably old Hollywood as well, but ever more confirmed to literally just be full of pedophiles. So I wouldn't even be going to see like a US made movie anyways, but I don't go to the movies. I don't buy movies either. I, for the most part, I don't like play games. Like I did in the past, back up home for a little bit. I did have a PS4, but I sold that in, I think, 2017 and didn't really do anything. I did occasionally like play Dark Souls on my dad's PS4 when I would visit, and uh, the only like other actual time since 2020, even that I had like played a game was like recently I played some Subnautica, but again that was on my dad's stuff. So if he didn't have that, I still wouldn't have I wouldn't have like touched any games. But I don't have a gaming system, and I don't buy any games either. And obviously, the amount that gets spent yearly on like all of that collectible stuff, merchandise, movies, games, that obviously varies, widely between individuals. So whatever particular size of the 40K per year average American life expenditure that would comprise, however large or small, is, a portion I uh, do not uh, do not have to account for. You know, did once, but that was kind of like a brief run. All right. What else do we have on here? Oh yeah, I totally forgot. The part with whole not owning a car thing is I also, obviously apart from, saving 5 grand per year on not having to make car payments or car insurance payments, I obviously, because I don't own a car and did not own a car back up home either, I don't, have to pay to get it checked on or like, get it repaired or fixed or anything. So that's a additional factor. And an additional, somewhat minor but still worth doing electricity saving factor is bring these back up. When you're making stuff, when you're using the stove or the oven, you can turn it off like a minute or two before the thing is actually done. Depending on the amount of time beforehand, like it's completely safe to do so, will vary based on how long the cook time is. But for things that take like 10 or 20 minutes, you can shut the oven or the stove off like, a whole minute or two, like before it's done, because the heat is still gonna be there. It'll be fine, unless you literally open the oven door. But like that will cut down like bit because your oven and stove are a decent enough portion. They're not as big as your AC heating and your water heater are, and your clothes dryer, but they are like a fair portion of their own because they're like 3.5 kilowatts while they're running. Uh oh, and another secret that's not really a secret, but it is something that's advisable. So, as implied by the existence of Josh and by the existence of Nick and Kayla back up home, who would effectively do almost anything to help out, like in the same way Josh would, and even Josh's brother would as well, like at the drop of a dime. The only issue with Josh's brother's kind of loud and kind of has a bit of a manly man ego, just a bit. But another key thing is have friends because uh, that will actually really help you because occasionally, people who like the fact that you exist, will just randomly do things for you or will be willing to help you with something if you ask them. And Josh in particular is one of the people on my Patreon, and also he has like sort of sustained my existence since I got stuck down here with a obviously much lower income than I had back when I was doing security for the university back up home. So he has kind of sustained my blood serum levels of German chocolate because he randomly like mails me a package of a bunch of either Milka or Rittersport bars like every so often. But also like on the few times the bus wasn't running, like on holidays, Nick and Kayla were always willing to like come and like get me and like take me someplace. And at night, like whenever I was flying out to like come visit my parents for Christmas or something, they were the ones they would come give me a ride because the flight out from Fairbanks leaves at 1:50 in the morning, and the buses aren't running at 1:50 in the morning. So that's like the only issue I had with the Max Transit system is that specifically the route to and from the airport like doesn't have at least a 1 hour spree where it like reactivates at night to take people to and from the airport when one of the primary flights into and out of Fairbanks actually occurs. But also uh, my friends up there uh, now factor this in. Remember, uh, they ate a fair amount of the cookies that I would make, but they would just randomly buy me like stacks of cookie dough, uh, and so part of that is because they also wanted the cookies, but despite the fact that the store bought dough that you just like uh, cut into squares and put on a cookie sheet, that's pretty easy. But uh, Nick still told me that, in his own words, like, nah, nah, I'm way too effing lazy to do that. So sometimes they would literally like grab me. They'd like, get the stuff. They'd grab me and like drive me across town to their place so that I could make the cookies. Instead of Nick like being willing to just have the stuff in their fridge and just cut it up and put it in the oven himself. So, yes, I have interesting friends with interesting like laziness dispositions. Uh, Josh has his own laziness disposition, but that's primarily just revolved around not streaming when he says he's going to be streaming. And also, this doesn't count as like life expense necessities, but back up home, working for the university did have benefits. They didn't have the benefits that you're probably thinking of, like health and dental coverage stuff. Yes, I did have that for a cost of $700 per year. I did have to pay for that, but as you probably inferred from that, a lot of that stuff is also cheaper back up home. That will also vary with where you go, like what doctor's place or what clinic you go to, because different ones have different like buy-in deals with the state government to have like the state cover a certain baseline of stuff so that they can charge really cheap. And also, but the benefits I'm referring to is I did not consistently actually have to stay on a like strict cheap food diet because some of the benefits for my workplace at least were they would give out free stuff. Like there was a limit on how many I could get, but I had a certain number of free Subway footlong sandwiches I could get, and also occasionally, like every few weeks, I would stop by the main human resources desk and uh and uh one of and Rebecca, I think, what was her name? One of the one of like the not older but like mother aged ladies that worked in the main HR office. She was the one who got and printed out their like stacks of coupons and deals that they had, many of which, and she would always make sure I was the one that got these because she knew how much I loved Papa John's. Many of those were literally for like not even half off, just straight up free pizza. It was a special deal that Papa John's and some other restaurants would have with UAF. So whenever she saw me walk by and they had them, she would like wave me down over and just like slide me a fistful of cards for literally like just straight up completely free Papa John's pizza. So uh, the message is uh, the message is for one, live in Alaska. Two, work someplace nice. Work someplace nice that cares about you. And no, paying you a lot of money is not actually the same thing. That is, uh, I mean, that is interpreted as the same thing, but that is actually what paying you a lot of money is a company just doing what it has to do uh, to a minimum baseline to quote unquote attract the necessary talent. Now, a place that pays you a lot of money can also be a place that cares about you, but typically places that do that are giant mega corporations that are soulless, blood sucking money machines, and they don't care about you. But the university, at least me and my coworkers, they loved us. Uh, I can't say the same about how the way they actually treated the students, though. Uh, like the way they treated us as students, that was a bit different. The way they treated us as employees, though, and I was both at the same time. The way they treated us as employees, though. Oh, and also, if you want to go to like university, live in Alaska is also like counts for that too because uh, schooling cost in Alaska is also like obscenely low. The average tuition for UAF in particular is only about 10 or 11,000 bucks a year. Uh, because again, the state government covers a lot of it because we actually have money, unlike a lot of other states. And but as employees, they did care about us. They absolutely loved us, and they liked me in particular. Even though I consider myself probably a not really well socially dispositioned kind of person, but all the like management people love me. I'm assuming it's because I never missed shifts, and also I was always like perfectly eager to like take shifts that nobody else wanted, and I also like was constantly seen after the shift lingering around whatever building I was assigned to that at that particular time. Walking around outside or inside, picking up all the trash everywhere. So, because of that, I assume they developed a positive disposition towards me that resulted in me, on top of having free Subway footlongs, me also constantly being handed fistfuls of cards for free Papa John's extra large pizzas. Is there anything else on this list that matters? Okay. Some of these things are the same thing listed twice, just phrased differently. Are there any others that are actually different? Oh, uh, okay. The one other thing that I started doing up there and continue doing down here, obviously, and that Josh also does as well, is cut your own hair. Uh, like I think now usually the price for getting your haircut, just a simple haircut, is like 20 to 25 bucks. And I would usually need to get one like 3 times a year. So that became, 60 to 75 bucks that I was never spending. So I cut my own hair now. No, it doesn't look, properly cut, obviously, because I'm not a professional barber, but I don't really care. And, that saves me some cash. And it also, I keep it, I don't have to do anything complex, because I'm a dude and I keep it uh, relatively short. I'm not talking like like military buzz cut short, but I do keep it like relatively short, or at least short enough, which helps with temperature management, especially being stranded down here now, because for like 6 months out of the year it's like 90 or 100 degrees. All right, that's probably close to the end, and Chad is primarily dead anyway, so that works. Uh, and um, did Josh ever actually even respond to the text, or is he just dead? I think he's like truly actually dead. Yep, he's dead. Right. That's definitely going to be it for this one then. So I will resume with the regular videos and stuff I promised. Actually, the list of them is on the back of this same note sheet. Okay, upcoming videos, not all of them are guaranteed to come out immediately, but upcoming videos that we should have will include the regular monthly update stuff. So, the oil production video, the OPEC oil production update video, the global oil demand video, gas production video, electricity demand levels video. Uh, uh, Hold on, I lost my place. My brain is breaking again. The 2020s Poland Decade of Invasions video, the How Many People Agriculturally Can the World Feed video, the Crypto and AI Are Going to Destroy Us All video. Not in the way you think. The now to be a yearly thing fertility rates slash birth rates update video, and also the U.S. The future of the U.S. power grid is screwed video. Not that you guys in Europe are in any better of a position, but unfortunately, we're now just as screwed as you are. And of course, later this week, there will be the regular, like, weekly current event stream thing. But there you go. So that is the compilation of most of the secrets and also, like, some tips you can do yourself. Save yourself a few $100 a year. Throw 5 of that monthly towards Maxager's Patreon, probably. But that will be it for this one. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you all around next time.